Hello. I will be real with you. I have no, like, strong idea what it is I'm gonna play. It is very fucking tempting to go for something like, what's the Final Fantasy 14, to be real with you, but I also just want to, like, chat for, just a little bit, kind of like what I did last Monday. Not exactly like last Monday, let me tell you, because last Monday was probably like a real, or not Monday, but the Monday before was probably like a real downer sort of, time, but, excuse me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, teeth. Oh, my water! I forgot about my water! Gosh darn it. Hang on. Alright. I have my water. I have the big, chunky 2.2 liter water beside my desk now. So I'm good. I'm ready for that one. So, all right, cool. So streamer bot is running. Morning, Xerix. Truly the biggest gulp. Oh yeah, like you'll hear my gulps on stream. Like I normally try and make it very obvious when I go for sippies. It's like so yeah. And I have like this little coaster which is shaped like a zebra. It does not hold the bottle up. It is so much smaller than the base of the bottle. You wouldn't believe. You wish to give me the biggest of hugs? Aw, thank you. Well, alright, hang on. These are sleeping pills, so those are gonna go... Oh, these aren't actually sleeping pills. They're like vitamin pills or what have you from like Blackmore's that are like, oh, will improve your sleep. And it's like, cool. So, but I have those. Any whoosies, over onto this screen, over onto here. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're all doing A-okay. This morning, this afternoon, this evening, this night. I hope it's going oh so well for all of yous. So, Urne and Zach got in first, and then we got Morse here, and then we got Xerix. Hi, hello, welcome. 'Tis 1 a.m. I don't fully understand the time zones, like, how it is that I get people like Morse Amalgam at, like, 1 in the morning and such. It's just how it happens, I guess. Tonight looks like I might break my crying streak. Wait, what? Like, you're gonna break, like, the record of, like, how long you've not cried, or the number of days straight you've cried? Because... yeah, that sounds like, I don't know how to interpret that one. Alright, so I've posted in most of the things that I want to post into. Alright, There we go. Also, hi there, Jason. 6:05 at night for me. Okay, fair enough. It's 6:05 for me as well. I'm glad that we're in similar sort of time zones, Jason. It works out for us. Alrighty then. Plug in my phone so then that way it's getting a little bit of charge while I'm at my desk. Fiddle with the cable and what have you. So, yay! So, hi, hello. Welcome. So yeah, yeah, I was able to go through Monday, and unlike the one from 2 weeks ago, it was not a terrible day. It actually went fairly all right. Granted, there was like someone that was like kind of dumb at the end of the day for me, but it is what it is. So you know, it is what it is. I'm curious where you are that uses decimal for timestamps. No, that's always how it's done. Like Morse, decimals are used in television as well. So, like, they'll do, like, you know, 6.5 or something like that in the United States when they do, like, television things, when it's like, oh, you know, watch this show at this time or this time central. So then that way it gives you an idea of, like, you know, whether you gotta move it forward or move it back in your time zones. I am the big sad, but I haven't cried today. Friday night I was crying until 5 a.m., but I feel better tonight, and I'm happy I can be here. Aw, well, glad to have you here, Zach. I hope you don't cry during my stream, but if you do, it's a happy cry. So, but yeah, I don't have any like major thingamadiggies in here that would, you know, warrant a happy cry. I don't have anything that should warrant a sad cry either, but you know, I no promises on either of the two. So, but yeah, so yeah, so I've been, you know, I've been sticking to the schedule thingy-majiggy for the last, like, 2 weeks now for keeping track of my weight and keeping track of what I'm eating and such. I definitely... Let's pull up Marley and Me. No, do not pull up any film that decides to be a drama with featuring a dog is not a good film. They make you sad. They guilt trip you. You need to have... The only, like... Is Air Bud a drama film featuring a dog? I'm trying to think if Air Bud is a drama film. Maybe. No, it wouldn't be, would it? Excited for the 24th with an event for Final Fantasy XIV. Oh, is there an event for the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV? Complete with a free trial allowing you to play through the entirety of a Realm Reborn and the award-winning Heavensward and award-winning Stormblood expansion up to level 70 with no restrictions on playtime? Not an official one. It's just going to be a get-together called the Hroth Market. Ooh, okay. Sounds cool. Sounds cool. I hope it goes well. Okay, so there's closures of the proprietary European Logical Data Centers and Worlds? What? The European Logical Data Center, Shadow, and the proprietary worlds released to mitigate potential congestion following the launch will be shut down on Tuesday, August 27th. We ask that players visiting probationary worlds use the Data World Center travel return to their home world before the closure. Please note that from Thursday, August 15th, it will no longer be possible to visit proprietary worlds. Probationary world, sorry, not proprietary. New items for sale. The Dawn Trail soundtrack is available. Final Fantasy XIV is going to be at Gamescom. There's a Moonfire Fair that I've already attended. Doesn't look like there is any major news that I need to keep a track of. Any whoosies. You're rewatching the Japanese version of Sailor Moon? Ooh, Sailor Moon or Sailor Moon Crystal? Thursday, August 22nd, Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Cosmos launches internationally. I'm sorry, that is a mouthful. What the what? Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Cosmos. Oh, it's a movie. Okay. Videos. Ding dong. Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Cosmos the movie. They've split it into 2 parts as well. They split it into a part 1 and a part 2. It's still better than 90% of isekai anime names. Oh yeah, no, if you like, I remember Giga did a video like a year or two, like a few years ago at this point. But basically what they did is they did like a AI thing where they're like, "Oh, let me just absorb all the different like animes and light novels that are isekai genre from like the Anime Network News or anime playlist or something like that. Morning, Jin. Welcome to the stream." And then he was just like, "All right, using that information, we're gonna generate new new isekai animes." And he challenged his friends to be like, which one's the real one and which one's the fake one, and it was oh so hilarious. So I was a middle-aged salary man until I was sent to the Shadow Realm, and all I got was this magic gun. Definitely sounds like an isekai. My favorite isekai is Inuyasha. My favorite isekai is Digimon. And yes, I am going to stand here and I'm going to argue that Digimon, the 2000s anime, with the banger like opening and the English like one, the banger opening, that's an isekai. Because you know what the kids do? They travel to another fucking world. Digimon was fucking dark. Oh yeah, it was. Like, especially since they introduced the idea of like vaccine data and virus types as like the overall like branching thing rather than doing like, you know, elemental things like they did in Pokemon. So then when you get through the third season of Digimon, which I believe is it might have been Digimon Tamers, where you got like Tokomon and like all the ones that like so wait, hang on. First two seasons, and Frontiers the fourth. Tamers is the third. Yeah, Tamers is a reverse isekai until you get to like the last parts of the season when they go into the internet. So, but yeah, so like that's when they did like the virus shit and what have you, so. And the kid like made it out of his fucking drawing, and it's just oh so similar to this one existing Digimon that like Digi evolves into it. No, don't point at my ass. How dare. Any whoosies. Tamers was... But yeah. Where was I? Oh! I'm going to be chatting about this a few times, because you know what? I am actually really fucking glad with myself this week, because since I've been keeping an eye on how much I'm consuming in the 2 weeks so far, I have actually gone through this particular paycheck thanks to the fact that I'm not spending as much money on public transport, thanks to, Steve from the Queensland government, and I'm only paying like 50 cents a trip, which is fantastic, and the fact that I've gotten like a $1,000 credit to my electrical bill, which means I'm good for not only the next electrical bill, but probably the next one if I'm manageable with my electricity. But because of all those different elements there, I've actually gotten more money like at the end of my thingy-majiggy than I normally do. Because the last few months I've actually kind of been a little bit paycheck to paychecky, where I've only had like maybe a spare $100 that goes into savings. Whereas with this regard, I have, hang on a second. If I look at the thingy-majiggy, if I look at my Amazon, not the Amazon, in the ANZ, it reads my face. $133 spare. I saved money by keeping an eye on what I'm eating. So I'm really glad about that. And I want to try and so I am making efforts to lose weight and manage my diet and what have you. Saturdays are going to be my cheat day. Last Saturday, the one we just went through and such, that one was a bit of a major kind of amount of food eaten, because not only did I have a bit of a big meal after the stream, but I also went out with friends and we went for a big meal then as well. Granted, I only went for a hamburger when I went out, but it's still a little bit much, especially since I had popcorn as a snack, which made me absorb so much water and such because of the salt and what have you. Cookie from a Sonic. Here's your cookie. Cookie. I can only imagine how much I'd spare if I stopped ordering out. Oh, here's what you do, Morse. If you're one of those people where if you look at the number and you see the number going down and you're like, oh no, that number is going down too quickly, get yourself a food app like MyFitnessPal or Fantisk, and a number of them, like MyFitnessPal, for instance, has like a little, like you can either like search in the database for it, or you can scan the QR code, or you can type in the name of the restaurant and then select from the menu or something or other. And then I'm addicted to buying private taxis for my burritos. That is a great way to explain. Here's the thing. I have a thing for an escort for. I buy an escort for my burgers. That's my person. That's how I roll. I'm gonna send that to. Hang on a second. What do you think of the phrase? I'm addicted to buying private taxis for my burritos. That's honestly hilarious. A week ago, you made a social media post asking if anyone would be willing to watch Little Mermaid with me, but no one has reached out. Okay, I will be real with you on that one. Everyone has seen The Little Mermaid. Well, granted, it's been a while since I saw The Little Mermaid, but, you know... like, it's a... Like, on your Facebook or on your Twitter? Here's what you need to do. You need to not make it a post of, hey, would you be... Alright, this is the difference between an introvert and an extrovert. An introvert is going to be like, hey, I'm just sort of putting it out there of like, oh, hey, like, what if we watched a movie later on or something? Ah, Sir Dragon! Thank you so much for the 10 months subscribed. I greatly appreciate it. You don't have to deal with any of the advertisement, and I hope you have
Sir Dragonx88 for the 10-month
That's what I just said, Robot Zeebs. That's what I just said. Anywhoosies, thank you so much for the 10 months. I greatly appreciate it. But yeah, Zach, here's the thingy-majiggy. Here's the down low. Rather than putting in a post of like, oh hey, would you be interested in like, you know, watching The Little Mermaid with me? Here's what you do. If you've got Facebook, here's what you do. You make it an event on Facebook, and then you invite as many people as you can to The Little Mermaid. Verbatim said, anyone want to watch Little Mermaid with me? I know the difference between passive and active voice. Granted, but that is a passive post. That is a passive post where, like, because basically people won't think you're directly engaging them unless you at them or something like that. So what you do on the Facebook is you make it an event. You put it upon the person. Granted, you're probably going to get a few rejects. I'm not going to sugarcoat it here. You are going to get people that are going to be like, no, I don't want to do that. But you make it a Facebook event. You make it a Facebook event of, oh, hey, you know, at this time of this day, we're going to go and watch The Little Mermaid. And you can either make it as like here's a Discord server invite link or something like that. So then that way we can all watch it together. And we don't have to leave our homes. Or you make it like a movie night. Because guess what? People, when they get invited to things, it's an entirely different headspace than people seeing a tweet of like, hey, expression of interest. We have a little bit of FOMO, and if we're invited to things, that is a bigger FOMO than just, you know, a post that's asking for expression of interest. I don't feel like I'm bothering people. This is gonna be one of those times where it's gonna be difficult. This is gonna be one of those difficult times, Ernest, Zach, but hear me out here, okay? No one has ever unfriended people for being invited into events, okay? It's going to be okay. You're going to be strong. You're going to be enjoying this evening. You're going to be enjoying the event, and you would absolutely love for anyone to come along. And so, you'd rather make things be hard than difficult. Oh, I'm not in my Discord, so I can't do the baduntis from out here. Darn it. Anywhoosies, where was I in my train of thought? Oh, yeah! Before I got derailed by Morse mentioning how it's just like, oh, yeah, let me just get a private taxi for my burritos. So, one of the things I've put on my throne, by the by, you should check out my throne. I have put down a featured item on my throne. I have put down a featured item on my throne that I would very much love to purchase, or that I would very much love to have. So, it is one of the few... Actually, maybe I should edit the thingy-majiggy so it's not a long-winded thingy-madoog. Let me edit the thing so it's like, under desk treadmill. that can hold the zebra's fat ass. There we go. Save. So that's that. I'm gonna customize the name of titles. Do you also call your toilet your throne? No, I do not call my toilet my throne. The toilet is the toilet. The bathroom is the bathroom. The throne is the... Hang on a second. Let me try it again. Let me try... Because there should be a voice command that should be going off. Check out my throne. There we go. That's better. So yeah, so... Actually, you know what? I'm gonna... Let me just open up my, Let me open up Opera GX, and let's see how we go. You're fancy now. Yes. Yes, there's like a little link that happens. Hi there, Deakus. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing all right. Welcome, welcome. Alrighty. Where is the... Here it is. Horus Rising paperback. I should have put this on my list as well. 77% himbo. Nice work. Good work on you. So yeah, so because StreamerBot makes it that it can, you know, do voice recognition and such. So there are some commands that StreamerBot recognizes, but it's all dependent that it is able to understand what I'm saying and what have you. If it isn't, then we got a problem. Ding dong, and then ding, and then we go to throne, and then if I go to here, and then I... Nope, doesn't do anything. Alright, cool. Product link, paste, next. Alright, so it's gonna upload the image and what have you. You had mixed results with that. Yeah, no, I've had mixed results with that, because if you recall, I also have the, like, I used to have, like, the quote me, or clip it. So I used to have, like, you know, different kinds of quotes like that, but, you know, it's not perfect. So, ding, dong, save image as... Sorry, I'm just doing some very silly things. I am being a little mischievous. So, hang on a second. You know what? Let's go over to the chatting section, so then that way you can see all this. It is not $85. It is $18. Convince Grant to read a book. Yeah, so that's $18. Remove the image. Upload an image. And then, there we go. Horus paperback, The Horus Heresy, Book 1. Convince Grant to read a book. How much does it cost if I try to ship it to myself? So, like, if I add to cart, and then, there we go. And then it's just like, alright, maybe I should hide this little thing in Midigi, just in case it does credit card details. Now, so if we continue as a guest, and then we do GrantZeebs@gmail.com. We continue as a guest. Will it give us like... Will it give us an approximation of delivery? Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Street Road. Address. So if I use that address, how much is delivery? Delivery is $7. Holy shit. Alright. If I wanted to pick it up from, let's say, Brisbane, I can get it from the official Warhammer store, or I can go all the way up to another official Warhammer store in Chermside. And... So if I go, yep, save. Does it cost anything for delivery then? Nope, it's free. Okay, so if I pick it up from the store, I can then... There we go. Alright. So 0 shipping, add to wish list. There we go. You got rid of squats. Yes, I did. because here's the thing: is like squats were a bit of a like they got like a little bit distracting and what have you for the whole like exercise thingy-majiggy, and you know it's kind of cool and all, but yeah, like if I was doing it during like breaks and what have you, it was okay. Hey, but you know, I don't know. I got rid of them after a point because it just wasn't. I feel like it's just like anytime the advertisement went off and then there was the squats as well, it kind of it kind of broke the pacing. Ah. Didn't it also get a bit ridiculous? There were people that started getting pissy about the redeems and what have you. Oh my gosh, I missed out on getting cactarred by Jack. Hi, Jack. Welcome. There's also the fact that some people were getting pissy if they tried to do the whole, oh, let's increase the squat count or something like that, but then someone else redeemed it, and I was like, look, I don't want people arguing over, like, redeems and what have you, okay? Otherwise, we're gonna get rid of them. At some point, you'd like to do some Minecraft integration with it, like set 25% accuracy of detecting the word dirt when it was the only thing I was saying. Lol. So yeah, and then doing a himbo rating. 41%. Nice. Like as a part of an exercise regime, not a stream thing. Ah. I'll get to that at some point. That was sadly the case with another routine too, in case you were wondering. I'm trying to think if there was like, because here's the thing is like, actually yes, you're right, it was there was a like I actually like there are a few redeems that I used to have that I no longer have, and a lot of them are just of a case of like, you know, breaking my concentration or breaking the flow of conversation. Because here's the thing, I like conversing. I feel like it's one of like the fun things I could be doing on stream. But if someone like decides to just like throw all kinds of extra nonsense at me, forces me to do a squat, all this other nonsense. I used to. Oh, I also had one that was like, "Oh, give me a fursona you have to compliment," which was kind of okay, but it was like it kept getting redeemed by the same person who had like 12 different personas at this point, and about 8 of them were the same, like, genre-wise, and it was like, what do you want me to say? Like, I was hoping to have, like, way more different people go into it and such, but it was like, what do you want me to say? This is... Here's a taller-than-life person. Here's a taller-than-life line. Here's a taller-than-life alien, and then, like, all this other nonsense. And then the few times there were few and far apart between where someone was like, here's like a lovely bear plushie looking for someone, and I was like, this is fantastic, I love this. And then those never popped up for like months at a time, and I was just more of like this one person's like, here's another persona I created, and it's just like, that's when you start putting like once per chatter per stream limits. Well, here's the thing, it was like once per chatter, and then it would be like, you know, oh, they would do it at a different stream or something, or rather. I would need to make it where it's like once. I need to make it so that you have like maybe one, maybe two, maybe limit it to like 2 personas, so then that way if someone did do the redeem and it was like, hey, I see on like StreamerBot sees the little marker where it's like, hey, you've already redeemed this twice, then it just like auto rejects and refunds you. Actually, you know what? That's probably what I should do. I don't have a persona, but I thought about it before, especially since being here. Getting a persona isn't a huge requirement, but it's definitely like a nice little fun thing to have. Oh, that reminds me, I need to turn back on the thingy-majiggy. Alright, so, here it is, under desk treadmill that can hold the zebra's fat ass. This thing here, this thing can hold up to 145 kilos. There is not that many treadmills that go under desks that can fit that. That is incredible, which is why I've put it on the list. I then added the Horus Rise. Actually, hang on a second. I'm gonna rename this title. Horus Heresy. Wait, the Horus Heresy. Force Zeebs to read. I'm gonna start putting it in the title. I'm gonna start putting it in like the title, some of the silly thingy-majiggies. This Yoshi We're gonna put in code the Yoshi plush.
Wild_Saber1337 paid me to say Zeebs, the whole demands your attention. The whole requires
No,
the
it doesn't.
sacrifice of all your dignity.
Are you planning on using the treadmill for streams or elsewhere? Oh, okay. Here is the desirable. There's a friend at work that told me how there's like there's a standing desk that he's able to get for
Yoshi with the 35-month tier 1 sub. Me plushie.
Yes. Hi, welcome to the stream, Code. Thank you so much for the 35 months. So close to 3 years at this point. But yeah, hi, Code. I'm renaming a number of the, hang on, so, Dink. Lotta Pepsi Max. It has 0 calories. I'm now, like, changing the GIF thingy-majiggy, so, like, the funny descriptors in the title instead. Peebus Max? Alright, fine. Let's call it Peebus. Peebus. So yeah. So, okay, back to what I was talking about. So, so a friend from work told me, because normally a standing desk is like a lot of money. It's like over $1,000 normally. Like if I go to Desky, for instance. So if you don't know what Desky is like a Australian site for getting ergonomic desks and what have you. So if you wanted to, like, say, get a standing desk, and is there a better filter? So you're spending like at least $600, and this is like for a single sit. So like, and what's more is like, it'll probably cost more depending on, so if we go for, let's go for black, and then let's go for space gray. You're spending at least like $700+ on a standing desk, and that's before you get into things such as, you know, having like a set of drawers and all that kind of such. But hey, Zeebs, look at my throne. I have a few things. No, that's not happening. Sorry, Wild Saber. Can I refund you for that one? Actually, I'll refund you for the whole comment. There you go. I'll refund you for the whole comment. I won't refund you for the highlighted message because it won't let me do that. There's a supplement brand that uses code. Nice. Queen! Hi! Welcome! Hi, hello. Sorry, I'm just doing this is a just chatting stream and what have you, and I'm just going on about, like, standing desks and what have you. Any whoosies. So yeah, so a friend has mentioned that they have found a place that sells standing desks of, like, this size for, instead of being, like, $700, it's instead, like, $400 instead. So, here's the plan, chat. You ready for the plan, chat? Thank you so much for the hyper himbo. How dare you steal my shirt? Here's the plan. I don't put too much money into the treadmill that can hold my fat ass. I'll put some money into it, don't you worry. I have the spare funds and what have you. But I'm going to be saving money up, so then that way I get my friend to tell me the website they go to for their standing desk and all the accessories. So then that way, the next time I do streams and what have you, I could, instead of, like, doing a thing where it's like, oh, I gotta do squats or something like that, and it, like, you know, breaks the flow of the stream while I'm playing games or walking, instead, I go from, like, a sitting position to a standing position, and I go for a little walk. I might even do that, like, during the entirety of a stream, so you just have me, like, you know, standing up for an hour on a, you know, short walking pace, and then sitting down for an hour, and then standing back up again for an hour, and then, you know, depending on it, how high quality we want to make this stream, I could probably even have it where there's, like, a little webcam, like, on the floor or something like that. So then that way it focuses on the treadmill and then on my feet, so you see me walking. I'm curious to see how it turns out. So am I. This is all, like, in planning and what have you. Also, hi there, Hot. Welcome to the stream. Why are you bonking me for the belly? Like, I'm sorry if my belly is, like, my belly is probably as fat as, Golden Dynamite's there, but, you know, that's IRL me, not, you know, not Zeebs me. Oh no, feet cam. No, we're not gonna do feet cam. I would just have to start wearing like shoes during stream. Right now, like I'm not wearing shoes, but if I was to like do the standing thing in Majiggy, then I would need to those are his hooves. Hooves. It's because of bitch. It's because you decided to throw bitch into the chat that's just like, oh my goodness. Yes, we want Yas Queen, but we can't let a woman call a zebra a bitch. Any whoosies. I'd rub that tummy like a genie lamp. Yeah, here's the thing as well. It's like there are people that are like simping on me for like revealing tummy and what have you. But the thing is I want to get rid of this thing. Which is why I have on my throne things such as the under-desk treadmill that can hold Zeeb's ass. Oh, socks. I should actually hang on a sec. So where am I up to? I'm up to here. Dockies for the VRs. Or for the VR handsies. There we go. Docking for the VR handsies. That should work. Just unscrew it counterclockwise. Wait, are you talking about like my belly? I don't know if that's how anatomy works. I would love if it worked like that, but it doesn't. Dickies. Let's just call them socks. Parentheses. Good ones. Variation 6 to 12. Yep. Because I am somewhere in that size range. The affinity to Tums has been growing over the years, but I respect you making goals to Lewitt. Thank you, Davey boy. Because here's the thing. Like, as much as people like bellies and what have you, I am overweight. I am, like, 143 kilos now? I was 141 back on Friday, but then I had a cheat day, so that did, you know, bring the thingy-majiggy, like, back up a little bit. But, like, just to put into a little bit of context here, like, 143.5 kilos. That is a BMI of 44.8. That is, like, that is just overweight. That is obese warning level 2. 48% body fat. If I had no fat in my body, I would be, like, 74 kilos. But I don't want to be 74 kilos. I want to be, like, 80 or 90 kilos, I think would be alright. So much like visceral fat, which is like the fat that's in between your organs. So that's not the surface fat, you know, the fat that people want to be like, you know, scrunchy, and just rubbing their face into it like as if they're a cat or something. The visceral fat is like the stuff between your organs that could cause problems as the years go on and what have you. And I would like to try and get rid of some of that stuff. Alvirus
with the 16-month tier 1 sub. If you had no fat in your body, you'd be a chimp, and then you couldn't stream. Lesson learned, don't be a chimp.
Some people want to return to monkey, unironically, don't forget. Drinking, you know what, I'm gonna get rid of these drinking straws. Actually, no, I'll keep it in here in case someone wants to, extra thick metal straws. I can't even spell straws. There we go. There we go. Extra thick metal straws. And then this is going to be an RGB fursuit head holder. This is honestly the reason why I wanted this IKEA thing, is just to be able to hold my fursuit head. Measuring tape. Smart. Wait, just measuring tape. There we go. Save gift. Since when did that happen? Wait, since when did what happen? There was an off-screen event? Oh, do you mean the hang on a second. Let me do it again. So I'll probably need to like look on my stream or something like that just to very quickly confirm this. But you're talking about how when someone's watching the stream and then there's this happening. And it like does like things. That's a desktop feature. That's something that happens on the desktop. Is it'll do like things out, like you can either have it in the chat area, in the streaming area here, or you can have it like everywhere on the screen. So yeah. Where was I in the thing? Can be used as airplane carry-on? What could be used as airplane carry-on? Oh, the belly, if I could just screw it right off. Everyone has their own preferences. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Xerix. Everyone can have their own preferences. Look, here's the thing. This is probably the hypocritical thing. Like, I like a little tummy. I'm fine with, like, you know the, like, not the artist, not like the, oh, this girl's a little chubby, like from South Korea or something like that. I don't have, but I also don't want, like, morbidly obese, like, better with salt artist. I'm, like, somewhere in between there, there is that lady with, like, you know, that thing that they do with the skirt, where it has, like, the little, it's not a muffin top. It's like it's not above the skirt. It's like sort of in the skirt in a way. It's got like this little, like, thing. It just got like the, any whoosies. There is a level of, like, you know, chunk thickness to a lady that I would like. I don't personally like my thickness, but that's more because of the fact of, like, at the stage that I'm at right now, it's not healthy, and I would rather like to get rid of it and such. Coin Kaiju just like, maybe? Maybe? But yeah, oh, it must be new. Wait. Also, I forgot throne is a thing. I honestly don't know what I'd put onto it. Put art supplies on it. Like, look, here's the thing, Davey boy. Most people don't go into my throne, and more USBs, more monitors connect to the PC. That was a cool thing, Imadiggy. Pedal. I'm gonna get rid of this one, because I've already basically... Wait, what is this for? To improve the storage in the PS5 to help with... Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this one, because I'm not getting anything for the PS5. Do I want to keep the Brita filter? Yes, I want to keep the Brita filter. Brita, to help clean my dirty... to help clean dirty Aussie water. There we go. Dirty Aussie water. I probably will reinvestigate toasters, because knowing this price point that you're seeing up here, knowing that price point, Code is probably very upset and is just now, like, sending me a coffee message of, you can get a toaster for $2! You can get a toaster for $2 with 2 slots. So, but yeah, I'll reinvestigate. I'll keep that there for now. It has a zebra on the cover. I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna get rid of the... because I don't really have a place for the book, and that is definitely, like, a weird one. The good kind of toilet paper. The good... wait, the good quality. But the good quality... Wait, hang on. Why did it just go to 0? What? Do they no longer have the value packs? Oh. Oop. Oh, that's weird. That is weird. View product details. Oh, okay, there isn't any more. All right, we gotta get rid of the... Sorry, we gotta get rid of the toilet paper. You just went through micro sleep at work? Ooh. I'd get you a cheap 4 slicer? I don't need 4 slots. I want 2 extra... Like, here's the thing. This one here is wide. Like, think about it, Code. Think about being able to put, like, a crumpet or a bagel, something thick. Like, something thick to the toaster. I don't care about 4 slots. I'm not trying to feed a family. I'm trying to feed me. I'm trying to feed me with, like, a good toaster. I need a toaster that you load like a CD disc changer? Oh, you mean like a rotisserie thingy-madoog? A microwave. Hang on. So resistance bands for to thicken thighs and butts. There we go. Save. And then what else? Oh yeah, I got my 1 week rent down here. That's never gonna happen. Face mask for fursuit only wearing. Fursuit head only wearing. There we go. Save. All you need to do is just a big enough one for a bagel and you're golden. Yeah, exactly. Like, just a nice big one. Use them. I'm just tired and maybe a little too eepy. Yeah, trying to tell me. 4 slice superior. No, you don't. You don't need 4 slices in the toaster. Okay? You just need 2. It's much better. Like, logistics-wise, it's much better to have 4. I mean, it's much better to have 2 and make them extra wide than to go for 4. Because here's the thing, if it's just 2, sure, you need to do more trips to, like, you know, make however many pieces of toast if you have a partner, especially if you want to do, like, a grilled cheese cheaply. But if you get 4, then you end up with a, hang on a hang on a second. What is this image? Hang on. Copy. No, not copy. Copy address. Open this. What did Moore say? Oh, yes, sure, that. Yes, there's going to be someone. There will be someone out there who is going to somehow make that kind of a toaster. Sure. It just, all your toast is there, and then you click one, and it's just like, give me a toast of number 5 crustiness.
It's Kahlua paid me to say hi, Grant. Can I have some tuna? Amazon effect name equals whispered more than also give me that leg.
Unfortunately,
/ Amazon effect.
Unfortunately, the sound thingy-majiggy doesn't... It didn't... Yeah, no, I know it didn't work. The reason why it didn't work is because you have to go with, like, a very specific... or you have to go with the AI peeps, or you spend, like, a subscription. It's cheaper for me to get an AWS, like, poly subscription, but the problem is that StreamerBot still has not, or SpeakerBot in this case, still has not fixed the thingy-majiggy. Also... No, why are you wanting my leg? Give me that leg. No. I'm not giving you my leg. Any whoosies, welcome to the stream, Kahlua. How are things? I am currently... What are you trying to toast? A bun cake? No, we're just... Look, ignore the toaster for a little bit, okay? Ignore the toaster for a little bit. Dragon Age. Reading Dragon Age comics. There we go. Save that one. I don't know if that one will work, but we'll see how it goes. Reading? Yes, reading. Yes. Yes, there's reading. Look at this. Don't look at the ass. Look at this. Look at the Horus Heresy. Cuz guess what? No, don't look at the ass. Stop looking at the ass. Anyway, back to where I was previously, reading the Dragon Age books. Alternative... Oh wait, so holding the fursuit out in public. All right, no, just out in the living room. Like, imagine that. Like, that would be pretty cool. Like, if it can work for a motorcycle helmet, it can work for a fursuit head. Hang on. This clock is broken, telling me the temperature. Save gift. So there we go. Also, why are you sending me a peach? Dragon Age, the comic of the game. Oh, how much is an AWS Poly subscription anyway? So for me, it's about like it's like 2 cents or something like that a month. Hang on a second. Let me see what happens when I go to my AWS. Give me a moment. Actually, no, this won't get me into my AWS. This will get me into my AWS. Although I do need to unlock the thingamadiggy. Hang on. Password 1, 2, 3,
New Dragon
4,
Age
5,
game
6.
comes out in October.
Yes, it does. It does come out in October, and I am going to play it on stream. If you haven't seen me play Dragon Age 1, 2, or Inquisition, but fuck it. I'm playing it. And you can like be like, "Oh my goodness, how is the Zebra such an expert on this stuff?" And it will just be like through the magic of like me knowing things. TTS just lifts Streamlabs API, and I keep worrying that at some point Brian will need their own. Z's TTS just lifts Streams API, and I keep... Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. Sort of. I think I understand what you're talking about. I don't know how Z does his... Because he probably uses, like, different programs and what have you. Give me a moment. Oh, that is the wrong information, apparently. Is incorrect, please. What the... Account 12 I do not remember doing the account 12-digit thing. Ding. Dong. Signing in using the root user. There we go. There we go. Now I'm in. Okay, so give me a minute. I mean, you made it. Ah, okay. So wait, does that mean that like if you if I could come to you for being able to do the tags and all that kind of nonsense? Oh, but you're lifting off of Streamlabs API. You're not really... You know what you should do? You should probably like approach the development team for Streamlabs and be like, "Hey, can we please enable this, please?" Because so many people want this want the SSL tag compatibility thing. You finally... Ooh, what did you get? Finally got the Reignited trilogy, so you're finally gonna play those games? Nice! I have the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, and I think I have the Spyro trilogy somewhere, but I haven't yet gotten around to it. I've got way too many whatsamahoozy games. I have way too many other franchise games I need to go through. Oh, any whoosies. Where's the thingamajig I was looking through? For when you need the whole loaf. No, I don't need the whole loaf cooked. You should look up the machine that hands you toast from the 60s. Hi there, Shabor. I'm not a stinky himbo. You're a stinky himbo. You haven't tried testing to see if their stuff supports the poly stuff. Any whoosies. To put into context... So, because here's the thing is, Poly makes it so that the first, like, I think the first million characters a month are free or something like that. So you only start paying once it goes over a certain value. But to put into context, Poly costs me about, let's see, April 2024, 5 cents. May 2024, 7 cents. July 2024, 7 cents, and August 2024. So far, it's costing me 4 cents, and it's forecasted to cost me 7 cents. It costs basically nothing. It's fantastic. You're not going to be hit with, like, a lot of... This is why, with costs such as that, where it's like, oh, $7, like, 7 cents a month, there is no benefit of going to, like, other, like, API things that are like, oh, if you pay me like $2 a month, it's like, no, fuck that nonsense. Like, unless I'm getting that many TTS things where it feels warranted to go for such a, like, you know, low ball subscription because you might be able to get more bang for your buck, you're much better off, you know, just going for the just getting Poly yourself. Any whoosies. Clock is broken. All right. Please double check the price. Okay, so the thingamadiggy is gone from there, so we're gonna have to delete that because I don't know if that will work. Does this still exist? Yes, it does. Oh, but it's only $16 US. Cool looking playing cards. Sorry, I'm just like doing a lot of other stuff. But yeah, Burger Plush default title. Boyga Plush. There we go. Fair. Just grabbing Streamlabs UI and piggybacking off theirs was just easy and free, and it's Streamlabs, so I don't feel bad about costing them money. Yeah, no, Streamlabs will definitely change their shit. All right, next page. I'm gonna get rid of. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that. Keep that. Keep that. I'm gonna get rid of this. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that. Gonna get rid of that because I'm not using the SodaStream anymore. Is the thing. And is there a benefit to that one? Maybe. Yeah, I would argue there's still a benefit to that one because of like the LED lights and what have you. Granted, it's a bit expensive, but you know how it is. You want a bed-sized Pokemon plushie? Same. That's why it's in my throne. But yeah, like this one, it will be able to hold my ass. Ding. Oh, it won't let me It's not okay, fuck it. Wait, why is it not letting me? Oh my god. Try that again. We couldn't show all the options that you could share. All right, it's at this point we Alt F4 that. There we go. But yeah, so I want to try and like get this because most of these treadmills that like are able to go under the desks and what have you, they only hold up like 120 kilos. Your Zebra is heavier than 120 kilos, unfortunately. So, this one, however, that is able to hold 145 kilos, I am currently under 145 kilos, which is actually fantastic for me, but I'm not yet at 120 kilos, so I've put this one on the list, and I can choose to either have the little screen in front of me or not have the screen in front of me, because I'll probably put this under my desk. Add to cart. Alright, I should probably hide the, So, ding, dong. I am going to do a contribution. It's going to say GrantZeebs. Yes, it is. It's going to use my saved credit card details. Yes, it is. I pay a $2 tax. That's fine by me. And then it does that. Does a cool little thingy-majiggy down there, and then it gives also a little notification up there. It kind of doubles hands it, but you know what? It does the job. So yeah. It's really nice. So yeah, slowly but surely, we will have like treadmill. That's the desire. So slowly but surely, we'll get the treadmill, and then on my side, I will be trying to. I need to ask my friend where they went for the standing desk nonsense that didn't cost over $500. I'll go to that. I'll go through their vendor, see what it costs to get the standing desk and the accessories, because I would love to get the accessory where it could be like, you know, a set of drawers or like something, or like, you know, holding the PC underneath, which I think would be fantastic. And then once we get through that, then like sky's the limits. Like we could probably set up like a treadmill cam or something like that and still have it like attached to the PC, so then that way you're able to see me on the treadmill walking during stream or something like that, which I think would be cool. Oh, I got notifications. Oh wait, it's because someone did a contribution to my treadmill and it was me. I did the contribution. Nice. So yeah. Close that tab, close that tab, close that tab, close that tab. Ow. So yeah, that's the plan. That's the hope. That's the desire. That's the dream. It's the dream. And so, do we want to go back to the chatting screen? Yeah, I think we're gonna go back to the chatting screen because I've done my due diligence here. Yes, I have done the due diligence here, I think. I need to make sure I don't get distracted by anime titties or anything like that. Yep, so close this. Keep that open, move over to here. So yeah. Maybe I'll move into it like a game after a little bit, because I've sort of been like, you know, fucking about for the last hour, but you know how it is when it's in a just chatting category. But yeah. Oh, you know what I forgot? You know what I forgot? I forgot to give Kahlua a shout out. It's Kahlua. And what's more is we can do like a clip shout out as well. So you get to see like a cool little clip right here.
Ugh! Yeah, he's so ugly. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. My cloaca!
Oh, I barely heard it in that scene. I'm sorry. I know I was here for when that happened. I was here for that reptile being like, ah, my cloaca. And it was. I only just noticed the Kronk figure in the background. Oh, you mean him over there, Kronk? Yeah. Granted, I did not make Kronk. I didn't make Kronk, Bulbasaur, or the Rubik's Cube. You know what or the weights down there. You know what I did make? I made the little plushie. I made the table. I made the Keyblade. I made the glasses. I made the lightsaber. The Cactar I made as well. That one was me. So, hang on a sec. Sippies. Well, because there's probably an advertisement that's about to go off, so might as well drink some Sippies. And there's a lot of perspiration, condensation on it, so it was like really drippy. So yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. Let me minimize that. There was other things I could have been doing. Is there anything else I want to talk about? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about. You know what? Probably not. Probably not. You know what I'm gonna try and do? We're gonna try and, what's a video game? We got video games. Ding. Dong. You know what? Let's go for some critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV, if it will allow me. Let's see if the Final Fantasy XIVs will allow me to do the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV. We won't go through any MSQ stuff, though. Don't worry about that. We'll just go through, like, everything else along the sides, because, you know, I just want to be a silly Zeebs. I just want to be a dumb Zeebs. I want to just, you know, do what. So, plus it would be fun to continue chatting with all of yous. Also, prepare to get flashbanged by the Dawn Trails. You guys ready to be flashbanged by the Dawn Trails? Get ready to be flashbanged. Get ready. Cool, awesome. If I go into like my Discord and shit, you can't see me going into the Discord. So yeah, so there won't be any MSQ. So I'm gonna update it. Spoiler, so no Dawn Trail / spoiler free. Another weekend, another day over, and it's going to be on the Crystal. Actually, you know what? I am going to let's visit another data center. Let's go. Let's check out what materia on Ravana is like. So materia / Ravana. So proceed, and then it's Final Fantasy XIV Online. There. Hopefully this takes less than a minute. Yay! I like that we're able to, like, any of the data centers, you're able to visit materia. I quite like it, because what it also means is that I get to, it means that I get to enjoy the Final Fantasy XIV at, like, less of a ping than normal, which I think is... Am I allowed to get distracted by enemy titties on your behalf? I just missed that. Sorry, I'm just gonna reply. Alright, so the server is currently congested. Yes, it means people are playing. It means people are playing in materia, which means if we go for like a raid or something like that, it won't be like a huge problem. We'll actually be able to, like, you know, do some whatsamahoozies. We'll be able to, like, you know, not wait forever. So, yeah. Welcome to Limsa Lominsa. It actually has some shit going on in there. Unis Aurum. Oh, so close to finding. But yeah. So I have, like, all the different duty roulettes. I still hate the limitations. Makes it harder to play with friends from other data centers. It does make... Okay, look. I won't sugarcoat it. It does technically make it a little bit difficult, especially if you're like, let's say one person's from Europe, the other person is from the United States. It makes it so that neither of you get to have a fun time because you have to go to Oceania, which is a terrible ping for everyone. But let's be real, at least they give you a convergence point rather than keeping everyone separate still. So, yeah. Unfortunately, the bell won't work while I'm in the non-world. Also, of course, there is Hagmus Taka. Of course. Alrighty. So, we have all sorts of options. I still have to go through the Wondrous Tales. But with everyone flocking to materia, it's like we are cut off again due to the congestion. Ah. The congestion isn't too bad, I'm gonna be real with you. It's not the worst. Alright, so we've already got dealing well. I need to figure out what to do with all those things. These features are... Yep, so... Now, the question is... 51 to 59. Okay, here's what I think we're gonna do. We're gonna try healer. We're gonna try a healer in a, because right now my healer is, like, level 56. Okay, cool. There's, like, a quest for level 56 that we could probably go through. I only have one healer. And it's the White Mage. And the only reason I'm going through the White Mage is because all the other healers, you can be, like, at least level 60 or 70 or some bullshit. And I want to try and get through, like, most of the hubbub with... I want to get through most of the hubbub with, like, all the different classes that you have to, like, start from 0 from. And it's for a very silly reason. It's so then that way, I don't have to hold on to any gear prior to level 50. Size. Deals unexpected damage with a potential of 400 to all nearby enemies. Heals own HP and the HP of nearby party members. Restores 5% of maximum AP. That's honestly really cool. Terrible news, Grant. The manifestation of the taint you purged here has reappeared. The fields nearby were driven into a frenzy all over again, and they reportedly attacked a knight on patrol. Though the man managed to flee to the Coventry, his wounds are grievous, and to compound matters, the Kamsam are all afield and cannot readily return. You are his only hope, Grant. You must go to the Convictory and save him. How far is he? Oh, he's all the way over there. Cool. Awesome. Alright. Random mount time. Is this the best gear I can wear? Yeah, it's the best gear I can wear. Healing, bangles. Yep, cool. Alright, so it is the best gear. Oh, hey! I totally forgot I could be killing some of these things. This is what it's like DPSing in the, as a healer. It's like you just get one, you get like 2 spells. You get a direct damage spell, which is rock, and you get an AoE spell. But you know, that's fine. You're gonna see me panic when I finally get into a dungeon, no doubt. Oh yeah, I've got to slay like 2. I gotta slay like 2 of these guys, which is gonna be a little bit. Oh, this costs like nothing. Yeah, okay, cool. What level can I cast that from? Level 52. Awesome. You're awake? You're awake for me playing as healer? Alert the presses. Grant is playing as a white mage and is going to try, like, a dungeon above level 50 at one point. But in the meantime, he's, like, distracting himself with, like, doing all kinds of... He's, like, doing the level 56 quest, but he's not doing it well. He's, like, just taking his turn. He's like, yeah, let me just do this real quick. No, it doesn't stun effect. Okay, let's see what the stun's like. There we go. And then it stuns him for like 2 seconds. And there we go. Many of the knights stationed in the Westerland thingamadiggies. Ah, so you could do like the Deadeye stuff if you wanted to. Nice. You have this stream at 23% volume? Or 23% size? Ah, okay. I didn't realize it was like, is it because it's super loud, or like, it sounds like it's at or above 100. Ooh, okay. How's everyone else's volume? Is that just like a unique, like, is it because maybe my gain was too high? Maybe that was it. Nope, that's the no, the microphone thingamadiggy isn't too high. Sorry, hang on a second. Because I can like see that the gain capture, it does go into the yellow often. Hang on, so if I go system and then I go sounds, like my mouse. Maybe that would be better? Oop, don't overshoot it. He's in a bad way. Please hurry and tend to his wounds. Cast Cure 2 on the wounded knight. The pain fades. I owe you a debt of gratitude. Thanks to you, the danger is past. However, he will still require constant care for a time. I shall remain on hand to help provide it. Meanwhile, you must go and purify the taint that has reappeared west of Banepool. Only you have the power to do so, Grant. Please hurry before it causes any more harm. Alright, before I forget, let's just crack open 2 of these guys. There we go. And then we start running. Ooh, we could do the... Actually, you know what? Let's do the Polar Express. We get a little bit more XP than normal when we go through the fight. This is what happens when you're like, you know, addle-brained like I am. You don't have a proper plan. You just want to, you know, you just want to fuck around and just be like, oh, let's just play whatevers. It'll be fun. I'll have chat to turn to for the feels like a concert. Oh, okay. I missed that little thingy-majiggy. But yeah, hopefully the volume of the game is better. Because I know I'm in like the yellows and the reds when I'm talking, but the game should now like not go over 20. Oop. No, not the ring. Alrighty, so I got the thingamajiggies I needed for the so that should give me, yep, that gives me health regeneration over time. Presence of mind allows me to attack faster. I have 12 minutes. Oh yeah, I can use like one of my abilities to like set up health, of course. And yep, so that. How does the volume sound now? Does it sound okay? I don't know how many of these polar bears I need to kill. Hopefully it's not like a long time to kill. Hopefully it's not before. But yeah, at least the bar is going up. You probably can't see it because it's behind. It's still a bit loud. And I hit the wall. So I've got a limiter in place for -6.5. I'm gonna lower it down to like -15 then. So, or -14 actually. Let's go with -14. 14. Yeah, -14. Because then that way, like, it does, you know, get to be loud and what have you, but it won't be, like, you know, extra loud. I would also recommend not having headphones to 100, but... Okay, maybe don't follow the polar bear. But hey, I was able to get a Tortured Memory of the Dying, which is going to be... I need to collect, like, I think 20 or 50 of those, which is done via... Which is apparently done via Fates. Are you gonna... Nope, you're gonna have... I'm gonna have to face off against you. Of course. Please stop. Please leave me alone, Tapioca. There we go. It's just drowning you out. I lowered it to 50% and it's still loud. Huh. Is it because of like, it shouldn't. Like, I'm looking at my levels. Like, my microphone goes well above the, It goes well above the, gain capture, but it could be a... Oh, is it a case of... Alright, hang on. Sorry, I gotta lower my stuff. Like, there should be an auto ducking because of... Yeah, if my microphone's on, then, like, if it gets above, like, a certain threshold, then it just starts lowering it to, like, a third. Purify. So it should be... Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Unless the audio isn't actually doing its thing. Like, does this actually mute it for you? Like, is it... So, like, this, there should be no sound. And now there's sound. Alright, cool. So the volume controls are doing stuff. I'm pleased to say the knight will make a full recovery. Had you not come to his aid, his comrades believe he would have died. I see you have already purified the taint. Good work, Grant. I must say, though, that its reappearance baffles me. It should have taken far longer for befouled aether to accumulate. I am disinclined to believe that this came about by itself. Nay, I sense that someone had a hand in this. I spoke with the knight after he had sufficiently recovered. Shortly before he was attacked, he caught sight of the foreign woman who reeks of death. Alaka. Wherever she appears, so too does the taint. I wasn't certain before, but now I'm convinced that it is no mere coincidence. Could it be that she is creating the taint? If so, to what end? Why would she do such a thing? Could you stop calling it the taint? It has an entirely different connotation in my brain than it does to yours. I don't know if this is just, you know, Final Fantasy nonsense where they just don't think about the taint too much, but taint has a different meaning. Get taint off the mind. I know not her designs, but her actions cannot be borne. Should the taint... Look, see? It says taint. It's really hard to get it out of my brain whenever you just see the word taint pop up in chat. You read this, and you try and not think about the taint. Should the taint continue to manifest, both Corinthus and the Twelves would suffer unimaginable damage. Stillglade and Fane must know of this threat. I shall send word to them. Though I shouldn't raise my hopes that the Seed Seers will disturb themselves, best to assume that we are on our own. Now then, our priority now is to track down Alaka. The knight said that she was headed west to the Dravinian Forelands. Let us take our search to the main settlement there. Tail Feather, I believe it's called. There we go. Alright. So we can hand the quest in there. We get a new ability when we do it, and then we'll start doing some... We'll start doing some roulettes to level up my white mage. So yeah, because I've got like a few roulettes we can choose from. I have spoken with a handful of locals. A strange woman has been witnessed coming and going, and with some regularity. I'm reasonably confident that it is Alaka, but I shall try to gather more information for good measure. Something occurs to me, Grant. If Alaka is indeed responsible for creating the taint, she'll not take kindly to our purifying it. It may well come to a confrontation. Pray use this time to further... What are you guys on about? I think the taint is located between the thighs. Pray use this time to further hone your powers, for we shall have need of them ere long. By purifying the taint, you have honed your powers as a white mage. Yay. I'll be able to talk to him again at level 58 for Thin Air. That's a cool looking fella. Alrighty then. So, first and foremost, main scenario would do a lot of good for us. We could do alliance raids at level 50. But let's see how we go with something like the Airy. Oh wow, that insta-popped. Okay. Hang on a second. Sorry. macros. Copy, paste. And then change it to heal 1. Execute. There we go. Put the region on Eris. This is like my... This is gonna be interesting to try. And then... Oh, okay, so we're moving. We're jamming. And let's do some AoEs. There we go. So that's gonna... So yeah, that comes back in like a minute and a half. Alright, so they're still holding on to the advantage. That's fine. I'll give you some regen while I'm at it. Because it costs me, like, no MP to do it. Hi there, head. Thank you for the head pats. Then... Oh, why did Ass go in there? What was that originally, if it... Deal unexpected damage to all nearby enemies. Does this cost a lily? No, it doesn't. Okay. Alright, regen you. And let's... You're a paladin, so you can do your own healings. Hi there, Valkyrie! I'm over in Materia, I'm over in Oceania, and I'm doing healer for, like, the first time on stream. So, pray I don't fuck this up. Oh shit, what happened to you? Benediction on you real quick, and then... maybe there. And then... F3, QR2. F4, QR2. There we go. Yep. There we go. Can't imagine tanking or healing in this game. Can barely DPS without a panic attack about the boss mechanics. Oh, you and I have very different interpretations of how we go about this. Because I'm gonna be real with you. Ooh. Whee! Alrighty. Regen. regen. And regen. What? Okay, you, I need to throw the regen on again. And then... Oh, Medicea, real quick. Let's do you. I'm glad no one died. Oops. Glad no one died. Oh, Jesus Christ. There we go. I'm excited that I'm not good at... I now have to open up a guide for every boss just to be sure. I'm gonna be real with you, I've never opened up a guide. It's all been just like fucking instincts and shit. It's never been a, there's never been like a proper, purpose to the thing. There we go. Oh, shit. Benediction. There we go. Ding. What the hell is going on with everyone? Why is everyone getting targeted? Cool. Oop. Read that. Need that. There we go. Oh. Don't know what's happening to you where we're getting. You. AoE thingy-majiggy on you. Yep, everyone seems to be fine. Oh, heals. In. Ah! That's a dumb vulnerability stack. I would have been better with that, quite frankly. There we go. You don't heal or tank unless you're with friends. Oh, do you heal when we're friends? Slide casting. There we go. Greed on you and greed on you, because I don't have either of you. Another successful heals. Whoop. Ding. Cure. Nice. I wonder if I'm going at this at the opposite direction, where it's like, because I thought tank was like the easiest fucking class to do, and now I'm having just like these panic attacks with healing. I wonder. Oh, actually no, healing is still difficult. I reckon I'm still going in the correct direction. I feel like DPS is somehow like maybe the DPSing is easier, but let's be real. That's probably because the most you have to worry about is just if you're the Dorito, being in the correct position and actually knowing the mechanics, whereas with me, it's like, I have the room to, fuck up and what have you. So. There we go. Yeah, I'm still able to do everything I want. Oh, regen. I didn't... That was a misclick. There we go. 5. And then... misclicked that rescue. Sorry. Small heals. Big cure. I thought I was gonna have a harder time managing my MP as a healer, but like I've been able, like I have not had like a true like fuck up in terms of like MP management just yet. Like everyone seems okay. It's a pro that I'm listening to the stream while shading some big muscles. Muscle! Amazing. Alrighty. Oh, it's Nidhogg. This is gonna be a fun one. Deafening blow. Oh shit! Hot tail. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, for God's sakes. So much fucking... Nope, get away, get away, get away, get away. Which one is he doing? The Sable... Uh-oh. Cure 3 again. lot of the time I'm just like, you know, locked on to my what's-a-mahoozy onto my paladin, and I'm just like, oh, we'll do the needful when it needs to be. 3. Ow! Fuck's sakes. Oh, I'm low out of. And then he's gonna do the hot tail thing. I have barely the MP. Jesus, how did that happen? Oh, Jesus Christ. I am screwing up here and there. Benediction. Woo! Thank you, tank. Sorry, hang on. Think, read and read. Woo! Hey, I got a commendation for that one. Nice. I understand the curriculum. I understand how to do the things at the time and the place. And I get a wondrous tale out of the way, so Cirrus Tower, Weeping March, Burden, Eyes, Earth, Striking Tree, World, Naval. I can't do a lot of those. But yeah. Alright, so what did I miss in all the chats? My clever wit and perky ass goes unappreciated here. No, I appreciate it! I appreciate it, Queen Kaiju. I love it. I love ass. I'm a boobies man, to be real with you, but I can appreciate an ass. I'm the same here, Valkyrie, plus I don't heal or tank unless I'm with friends or raids. I'm being excited that I have to open up a guide. It's appropriate that I'm listening to the stream while shading some muscles. DPS is harder than it looks. They have insane rotation. Yeah, I feel like, but that's the thing. I feel like it's all like macros for the big damage or something like that. It's not a, hey, like I need to know positionals and, you know, aware. Like you don't have like awareness of your teammates. It's like you're just taking care of yourself on that one. Whereas as a tank, I feel like you have to take care of other people. April and the healer, you have to take care of the entire party. Let me just pop all these. So let me just pop all these monk buffs, and the boss wants to go range distance for about 20 seconds. Cool. Well, I guess I'll just go fuck myself. I don't heal in thingy-majiggies either. Understandable. Alrighty. Oh, he wants me to gather information for nukes. Alright. But hey, the good news is I can now do the vault if I want. I don't want to do the vault. So we have the option of leveling, trials. We can't do the so no benefit in doing the MSQ. Oh my gosh, my head. Viper, Reaper, Dragoon, and Ninja would like to have a word with you about positionals. Aren't they like getting rid of positionals at some point or something or other? Alright. Where was I in my next thing? What's the next one? What's the next thing we want to do? We can do a main scenario. That's always a good, like, health thingy-majiggy. We can also do a high-level dungeon? Let's go, actually, let's go a high-level dungeon. Okay, so it doesn't insta-pop, but, you know, it is what it is. And then just need to remember settings, and then User macros are here. So yeah. You totally forgot the wedding thing exists in this game for a bit? Oh yeah, there's like, you know, ceremonies, so you can be, like, totally together with people. I don't have that, so... there isn't anyone in this game that I'm like, ooh, I would love a wedding. It's like, nah. It's not important to me. Alright, can I wear better gear? Yes, I can. I can now put on so much different nonsense. Hang on, I need to update my portrait. Edit. Save. Close. Ding. Dong. Ding. Commence. You're married to pain and trauma, that is the MSQ. Oh, you'll get through it. You'll get through the MSQ. Lord knows I'm making my, you know, pace as I do. So yeah. Okay, so this is the level 50 stuff. Alright, cool. Oh, Jesus. Alright. Yep, they're interested in... Oh yeah, this is serious. This is faux serious. This is part of the, Okay, this is gonna be a fun one, isn't it? Oh, shit. There we go, and there we go. I don't have a lot of my... Stop running so far. Please. I don't have, like, a lot of options for healing you quickly, I'm sorry to say. No, no, before you go! Oh, you... Are you... Ah! Hi, Jason. Yeah, Grandpa, that sounds just exactly as marriage to some people. Well, people in those marriages need to catch up with the times. You're meant to be marrying your best friend. You're meant to be, like, marrying your best friend and having a wonderful time. And then... Booyah. And then... Booyah again. And finally, you know what? One more booyah does not hurt anyone. I love how we're getting Gil from this as well, which is the weird thing. Alright, F2... Nope, F2. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck, 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 fuck. What do I do here? Slide. Oh, shit. Real with you, this is not fun. Phew! Oh my god, everyone is like just sliding every fucking where. Everyone's like slipping and sliding. Like a lot of the options you do for like heals and shit, you realize. Like, I don't even have like my blood lily available to me. I hope you realize this. Also, the fuck happened to me? Also, could we like, you know, get rid of this guy? There we go. Mainly tanks are mine. Oh, this thing. Dunk, dunk. Pass, sprint. Holy shit. Wait up. Wait up. Have insta-casting. Well, maybe I do, but it takes like a long time before it like can be cast. It's easier for me to throw gens out on you than to Stysia, Kira, and then mainly tanks my protection of DPS is from people in my server whining about how hard it is to get out of the big flashy circle. I mean, how hard is it to keep your global cooldowns? Oh, the thing I get is the fact that they. Oh shit. Do that. And do this. No, don't go any further. Don't go any further. I'm still dealing with these guys. Hit any of the. There we go. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. What the fuck was that? I don't know what happened there. Sorry. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out. So, like, do we want to kill the eggs? Is it, or do we want to kill the birds? Like, this person has a crown. I'm hoping they know. I have to Google it. I don't remember. Damn it. Alright. Let's kill all the eggs from the start, see what happens. Maybe? Hi there, ravioli holy moly. Do you have the formilioli? Only hatchlings. Okay, so we gotta kill the hatch. Please don't run. Please don't run in first. We still need to wait for all our DPS, please. There we go. Ding. Dog. Give me this. So we can't target the zoo. There we go. War mitts. Cool. Sorry for nearly leaving you for dead. Sorry for nearly leaving you dead there. Biggest fan. Hi there, Sushi Mick. I don't know how to say that. Ow, ow, ow. It's fine. I forgot the gunbreaker does that. Popping the invult? Yeah. Don't. Appreciate if you didn't run around like that. There we go. Alrighty then. Oop. And right at the get-go. Pretty sure there's a cutscene. If it's not at this one. Although, to be real with you, everyone seems to be able to win through these guys quickly. I do not understand this boss. I was trying to live through the stun coming. Radio. But yeah, hopefully the two of you are doing great there. Ravioli and sushi. I'm gonna be real. I love ravioli and sushi. I am a personal fave of the beef ravioli. Any strats I should know? Question mark? This thing. Oh, cool. So you'll help me out with this one. Alrighty, here we go. Let's do the regen. Zug Zug. I do not know what Zug Zug means, but okay. Oh, they're targeting me, so would rather appreciate it they didn't. And then... Freestyle, not a great time, I'm gonna be real with you. Freestyle. Don't know what the siren is gonna do next. Oh, okay, cool, so they did the interrupt. Nice. And then... Song of Torment. Do I have a thingy-majiggy to do the, because all of those can be interrupted. Oh, never mind. We defeated them. Now, granted, the Gunbreaker gave me a heart attack, but it worked. We're alive. We're fine. And we get all the stuff. Hey, I got myself accommodation, which is nice. I can try my best. It's been ages since I ran this bench. No, it's okay. I went through it. I survived. I'm good. I'm so close to getting a line. You don't even understand. But yeah. But yeah. We did it. So now the high level dungeon is looking for DPS. We can go for leveling as a healer. Weird that I didn't get like any XP after going through the high level dungeon with the Adventurers in Need thing, which is unfortunate. Like I thought there would be. So you gain 6,000. So wait, gained 70,000. Then there was a bonus of 70,000 for using the duty roulette. Then I got 6,000 for Conjure and a bonus 6,000 for being an Adventurer in Need. Alright, cool. So those still worked. Nice. Completing this duty for the first time. It's been applied to old members. Cool, 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 cool. Alright. Main scenario is normally a long one. So, and then there's leveling. How much do I have in the... Oh, I've only got 7,000 Storm Seals. So yeah, it's probably worth doing leveling. And it just insta-pops like that. Cool. Let's see how we go. We're going through another one. Man, I'm getting the handle of the... What the? Ding. Dong. User macros. Execute. So, Legolas Black is just doing that. She-Ha. Nice. Alrighty. So, level 46, level 46. They're viewing a cutscene still, level 46. You just got an ad for a cream meant to freshen the scent of your hindquarters. Probably the cream. Marines can get showers. Alrighty, so I don't have access to my Medicea 2. I just have access to Medicea. Let's do you. Why are you running around? Akuma, stop running. It doesn't help. Christ, Legolas, how did that happen? No, don't be fucking weird. What is Legolas doing? This is being messy, to say the least. This is being messy. Oh. Messy and finished is still messy. Fair. Fine. Still messy. Like, there was so many... I was just in a panic. I was like, oh, regen, cure, Medicea. Like, I honestly forgot what some of my spells else could do to help. Like, I could have used Short Cast, perhaps. Perhaps to, like, make it so I could have, like, you know, done one of my spells. Swift Cast was useful on probably Cure 3. Also, they are in a long cutscene. Well, they're probably going to get most of the commendations, except for moi. So why am I getting a notification to join EN? Oh, no, that's... I'll deal with you once I've... Cool, so that's all stuff I can deal with tomorrow at work, not tonight. Is she okay? Kuma? Hello? Is Akuma, like, just really slowly reading? Oh, I hope they're okay. I hope they haven't, like, crashed or anything like that. Ew. Grabbing the gales. Oh, yeah, this used to be a thing, wasn't it? They would, like, do the whole, they would put, like, cutscenes into... Like, this was, like, a Realm Reborn, and then they stopped doing that after Realm Reborn. Oh, boy. I hope they're okay. Yeah, they're doing a road to 90, so they're working on that. That should last. So this is like a relatively new... They don't seem to be disconnected. Yep, they just been blitzing through Gladiator. And they're out of it now. There we go. Oh, and I got no commendations. Damn it. Well, that was disappointing. So many people were close to dying then. And I helped them. Alrighty. So we can do alliance raids, we can do guild tests. I don't want to go through the MSQ, I'm gonna be real with you. Alright, grab you. Reuse you. I got some stuff I need to hand in to the whatsamahoozy thingamabob. I got stuff I need to hand in to the storm stuff, so then that way... Hi there, Arrowwild! Welcome to the stream. I have just been doing a number of different dungeons as a healer. You would be so proud of me. Actually, before I go any further... excuse me. I should go into the barracks. I should drop off some of the blue stuff that... So then that way I don't accidentally, you know, send it elsewhere. Nothing in inventory, nothing in there, nothing in there, nothing in there, nothing in there. I'm using those. I'm using that. So, alright. In the main hand. What? Oh, I need to increase the... I need to heal the durability before I send them in there. Crazy beer got... Brie? Crazy beer? Hopefully I'll get that name correctly, don't you worry. Hang on a second. Let me just... Can I heal the shit? Hang on. General, repair, repair all. Okay, cool. So I have all the thingamajiggies to repair all that. Got all the thingamajiggies to repair some of this. And that. How's it going? It's been going. I was doing a little bit of just chatting at the start. I've like put a little bit of money towards the treadmill that's on my throne. So then that way, like, you know, we're closer to hopefully getting a treadmill that will hold my fat ass. And, so yeah, and I wanted to do like a little bit of fucking about in Final Fantasy XIV, because... Like, I've done, like, nearly none of the Wondrous Tales, and I wanted to put, like, a little bit of levels into my healer here, so then that way they can try and get up to, like, level 60. Just so then that way it's just, you know, a little bit of... You need to unlock Wondrous Tales. I highly recommend it. So, because here's the thing. The benefit with Wondrous Tales is if you complete the 9 seals, So, like, go through this top row is, like, relatively quick to do when you're not at max level. This one here, almost relatively quick as well once you're past level 60. Or you can gang up with a group and do it unsynced. And then, like, you know, maybe 1 or 2 here that you would do, like, you know, synced or unsynced. Like, this one, unsynced. This one, you have to do synced because it's a PvP. And then you'd go into a group for, like, something with Alexander over on the right here. Or going into an Alliance raid roulette and hoping you get Cypress Tower. You go through all 9. No matter which class, whichever class you use to hand in your Wondrous Tales, 50%. You get half a level worth of XP with the book. And this will change depending on the class you're currently using. So, for example, right now, this is like, oh, it gives me, like, 500,000 XP guaranteed. But if I go over to my warrior, who is my highest level at, like, 95, if I check the book again, it gives me, like, 9 million XP if I was to hand this in as my warrior. So, yeah. Repair all that. Repair that. Repair that. And that. Yep. Okay, that repairs all that. Oh, actually, I can go into here for the room. Retire into the in-room real quick. So, plus, like, while I'm, like, after I put all the glamour nonsense in here, so, you can go away, you can go away, you can go away, so can you. So, I'm holding on to all this extra, like, green stuff in my inventory, because at one point I will, like, once I try and go through, like, all the different, once I go through, like, all the different, like, beginner levels and get them up to, like, level 50 or something like that, then I'll, like, go back through all the earlier stuff and get rid of it. So, alrighty. Now, do you want to see, like, the power of, like, going through, like, going through this stuff unsynced? It's gonna blow your fucking mind. So let's do Earth's Font. So let's do the first one here. Let's do Earth's Font. Like, one, you insta-queue, because you can do it with, like, however many people you want. And then... alrighty. So. Ding. Dong. Take the hit. I probably could have done that, like, a little bit better, to be real with you, but yeah. And then next one I saw was the Naval. So this one you can also, like, unsynced is hella fun, exactly. It's so great. May have a fail time. Never mind. Yeah, no, don't worry, I'm good. I've done it, like, a number of times. It's not a problem. So yeah, and then this one is always a fun, annoying one, because it's like, oh, let's do the waiting game. And then we do it again. And then my tank, like, thingy-majiggy runs out. So then we do... and then I'm just gonna do standard hits. And then... because he's gonna jump up again, as you see here. And then... it does. It really brings into comparison, like, oh, this is what it's like going back to earlier levels. So yeah. What was another one I needed to do? World Eater and Striking Tree. Alright. There's World Eater, I'm gonna be real with you. That one can be a difficult one to do solo if you're not familiar with, like, how to stay alive. You can't do it like Earth's Font, where I just, like, you know, sit in. So, inner release, and then review. Because, yeah, see how, like, almost instantly it's like you just... So, watch, he's gonna whack there. And then... Yep, and then already I can't do any damage. So, I have to, like, go through... I have to go through the mechanics with him. Dun, dun, and then... Go for you, and then... activate the thingy. Make sure I don't get hit. He does his thing. You get hit by it. It destroys the railings. So now... I'm gonna do arm's length. So then that way I don't have to deal with the... And I lucked out because my Primal Rend, you know, basically did 50% damage there. Code and I, we would fuck this one up, like, however many times. And then last one is Striking Tree. And that gets, like... And there we go. I've gotten, like, that done in... Let's see. So 16 seconds, 50 seconds, a minute 5... We're gonna get this thing done in, like, no time at all. And observe, I see. So now this is arbiter nonsense. I have to hit all these guys out of the way. I have to deal with chaos. That way I get some immunity. And then might as well... I went through this the entire wrong way. I could have done Primal Rend, but, you know, not used to it yet. There we go. Get all that Levin stuff, which means we can hand those in for, So, like, 4 minutes or more instead of, like, hours. Yeah. And because of that... We then get, like, all these. Oh my god, this is so annoying. It's like, I could either make a line here or a line there. Like, it would be nice if the two could go there, but there's no guarantees. So... But yeah, I then need to go through, like, a level 60 dungeon, and then there's, like, Crystalline Conflict, the Coils of Bahamut, the Burden of the Father, or the Eyes of the Creator. I prefer going through these as, like, a synced party. And then Limitless Blue... Like, you can do this unsynced, but I've not had success in being able to do this unsynced. So yeah, and so you would do something like, going into the level 60. So you got, like, the Aethochemical here. I'm trying to think what would be the shortest one. Like, this one might be the shortest one, to be real with you. Or... Yeah, maybe this is the shortest one. So yeah, because as you can see here, there's like a lot of there's a lot of level 60s to choose from. I normally go with the anti-tower, but that gives me like the weird dolls. So yeah, because... So yeah, as you can see here, so you need to do complete level 60, and then... Actually, what's Burden of the Father? Heaven's Ward... Burden of the Father. Alright, let's see how we do with Burden of the Father on solo. I'm really curious. We'll see how we go. But yeah, hopefully everyone's doing alright. Oh, it's gonna take a few hits, I see. Up. And I now have to deal with it. But thankfully, these guys, like, do not hurt that whatever effect. There we go. So the good news, I can get all that, get all this stuff. Excellent. I was worried. Oh, come on. All right, so my only hope is getting into one of those two areas there. Oh, okay. So I can go into these areas here. I can go into the 663s. Nice. So this is what my character looks like. Hi there, crazy Bry guy. Wondrous Tales farming. Yes, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So I've got the option of Limitless Blue, the Crystalline Conflict, a level 60 dungeon. You know what? Here's what we're gonna do. I want to go through more of my healer. So we're gonna turn off the unrestricted party thing. I want to get some practice in. I want to get some practice in with the PvP nonsense. So we're gonna go for a casual match of Crystalline Conflict. And we're gonna see how we go. So that's when you know the game hates you. Oh, so you know who Bray is. Wait, is it Bry or is it Bree? Been raided a few times, so when Dazzy shouted you out, figured a follow was due. Ah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Dazzy's amazing. Dazzy's cool. So, Dazzy's wonderful. If anyone in my chat does not know who Dazarus is, bam. Alright, actually, so while that is... Actually, hang on a second. So, 94, 95, 90, and 91. So, tank... So you need to be at least 94. So Paladin and Warrior are wearing that stuff. Gunbreaker and Dark Knight are stuck in the earlier gear nonsense. Alright, let's see. Yep, so it hides the gear sets. Alright, cool. You never got around to talking to Dazzy? Dazzy's sweet. Though, like, forewarning, Dazzy does not have a good understanding about difficulty curves. Dazzy has such a weird, like, you know how there are people that have, like, no sense of taste, and so their spice tolerance is, like, really, really high? So they normally go for, like, you know, absolutely painful Scoville kind of spice, and they're thinking, oh, that's how spice is. That's what you gotta do. You gotta go for these crazy levels of spice. Dazzy is like that in terms of game difficulties. I don't know what it is about, like, he's just sort of cracked at that nonsense, and then there's also the added fact that RNG favors him a bit. So, yeah, definitely him. Yeah. So it's a fun little escapade trying to go through some of that stuff. Alrighty, so that was level 50. Disciple of War, Disciple of Magic. None of these are going to be explicitly for healer when they're, like, lower than 50. They're all going to be, like, different things. Alright. Wait, hang on. So, what level gear? So, 55 is for the choker. 57 is for the bracelet. 53, 50, 55s, and 57s. Oop. What? Registration arena has changed. Registration... Oh. Okay. Join. I didn't realize the thing needed to change, but okay. He's playing Strix, Master of Darkness. On the detection is death difficulty. Oh, yeah, no, you get what I mean. He has admitted he sucks at stealth games. I'm not too sure how I am with stealth games. Like, when some games have stealth mechanics, like, if they don't give you, like, a lot of options, it's like, I'm fairly okay with them, I would say. But, like, for example, this one in Final Fantasy XIV, like, the stealth mechanic is, like, really low in terms of, like, oh, tail this person. It's like, I have no problems whatsoever. Yeah, so that's the best I can wear gear-wise. I need to go to... I'm gonna go back to my glamour chest, and I'm gonna see if I can find the... Because I'm gonna get out the level 60 healing gear that I have. Just so then that way... Alright, White Mage and Conjurer. So let's have a look. So, level 90, level 70, level 6. Alright, here we go. So restore that. And then... Oh, god damn you. Commence. There we go. So, we're gonna go through. We're gonna try Crystalline Conflict as a healer. This is gonna be interesting. A little too much RNG for him. I have never been on this map before. Team Umbra! Oh my god, I'm filled with so cool. Black Mage, Ninja, Samurai. Oh boy. Should be good. Some healers can be cracked. Yeah, if they know what they're doing. First and foremost, I do not know what I'm doing in these DPS, in these, thingy-madiggies. Oh my god, my hot bars. Look at my precious hot bar. It is like, alright, so we got the Glare 3, we got Cure 2. Cure 2. We got the thingy-madiggy. Oh wait, no, we already have Cure. What is... Oh my god, I do not know what any of these things do. Medical kit? Nope. Standard issue elixir. Restore of own HP. Purify. Recuperate. Guard. And there's already sprint. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Hopefully this will not be a problem. Where the fuck is everyone? Alright, ding. Let's do this. Cure on you. Cure on... Oh, my god, there's a cooldown? Oh my god. I don't know what any of these things do. Yep. Shit. Alright, what does 3 do? Deals unnecessary with opponents to target and all enemies near it. This does not share a recast with any others. 4 is create a barrier around self or target that absorbs damage. 5 does something. I've never played PvP. I'm just chilling my way through Stormblood and grinding out all my anima relics. Oh, good for you. Good luck with that. Oh shit. No idea what I'm doing. I am so lost. Oh boy. Alright, here we go. But yeah, I've not got... So... Oh yeah, so Anima Relic would be the Heaven's Ward. I've done that at least once. I've not yet done the Stormblood Relic. I'm working on that right now, but I've not gone too far. Oh, I died. I don't know how. Yeah, Animas, Heaven's Ward, Zodiark is a Realm Reborn. So I've gone through those, at the very least. Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't know. What pre-workout do you take? None, because this is all fantasy. Hi there, Shinkazu. Welcome to the stream. I am playing Final Fantasy's PvP. I have no experience with it on stream. I am playing as a healer. I am absolutely terrible at this. The only reason I'm doing this is so that way I can, like, let's see, so this is our Swift Sprint. And it should be our victory at that point. Nope, it's overtime now. Alrighty. The kayfabe here died in the war. Yoko Moon is probably not gonna like it. Probably not gonna like the lactose. There we go, and overtime is over, and we win through contention. Wait, I had 1 kill? How the fuck did that happen? Yoko Moon got 14 assists, good on you, and Bubble Lord. Crazy. Alright, oh, they're all left, never mind. We're leaving the duty. That was Final Fantasy IX music. Oh, that did not clue into my brain at all. And the good news is, we create a line. Alrighty. Shinkazu, thank you so much for the follow. Success! We were able to, like, you know, go through all that with... And we'd be able to make at least 1 line. Alright, I'm going to have the gun... Actually, I'm not gonna have the gun breaker. Am I gonna have the gun breaker? No, I'm gonna have the dark... I'm gonna have the Dark Knight go through... Wait, is it... No, it's better that I have the Gunbreaker go through the level up. So, here we go. So Dravinia, we go to Idleshire, we then hand in the book, so then that way we get an entirely new book, and that I will do an entirely different time. So, but yeah, I have no experience in the PvP, and I also have no more PvP. No more PvP, I'm sorry. I only did the PvP for this. I did the PvP for the Crystalline Conflict, so I can get the book completed and get at least 1 line, so I can get myself some MG gold. And I also need to... Alright, so hand over the journal. So... Oh, I'm gonna run out of space there, so... No, I'm gonna... do I want to go for the platinum piece, or do I want to go... I'm gonna go for the... Actually, hang on. I can cancel that. I can purchase in here some of the Tombstone gear that's worthwhile. Tombstone of Poetics, Dawn of Magic. So... ding... White Mage. So... Search for item. So that's on my head already. Search for item. That's in the glamour chest already. That's in the glamour chest already. That's in the glamour chest already. Alright, so all those are in the glamour chest already, so there's no benefit to those. Alright, so none of those have been... So that's... So, Earring... Augmented Shrine, Preceptor... Oh, it does like an all classes thing here. I don't know which one is the beneficial one for me. God effing... You can check them in PvP. The PvP rewards are worth it. Rival Wings, Frontline, Crystalline Conflict. Series Malmstones? Oh, hey, I ordered... Yay! Got 1,000 crystal trophies. So you can get a Bomb Paracel, a Volcanic Heart, Squeak the Coyote, Clockwork, an Oppressor Identification Key. Look, I don't know how easily I can get through all that. That looks real hard. Oh, it's the same thing. And then it's like, I have not like, look at this. Crystalline Conflict, 10 victories. And I've probably gone through this like a number of times. Just do some PvP every now and then. That's requiring me to remember to do that. Alright, hang on a sec. So before we go any further into Dravinia, I'm gonna do some... I'm gonna head to Kagane. Head to Kagane, see what it is I can do. Daily Frontline, I should probably do that. Actually, the Daily Frontline, you do make a good point, is worthwhile for the PvP increase, as not for the PvP, but for the XP increase as well. So, alright. Now, I'm pretty sure I've already gotten all the tank stuff that I could get here. So, like, if I do a search for this item... Yeah, it's already sitting in my glamour chest. So instead... let's check out the healers. And see if there's any scaving gear I don't yet have for... Oop, ding. Search for item. Glamour chest. Glamour chest. Glamour chest. Glamour chest. Alright, so I don't have... This is... All that is just so then that way I have, like, Tombstone, like, allowance to be able to, like, hand in the thingy-majiggy to Divinia and I'm not, like, losing out on funds. It's a very stupid reason to do it, but that's the reason why. So then that way I didn't, like, cut over, especially since I could, like, buy things with the Poetics. Like, sure, it probably would have been worthwhile buying, like, the level 80 and 90 gear, but I was like, fuck it, we're going for the... earrings and such from the 70s, because I'm a bit of a hoarder in my glamour chest, so... Alright. Yep, I wanted my Gunbreaker to get the levels. Alright, hand over the journal. So we get the Elysian Tombstones, and then we get the Gold Sorcerer, because there's no point to the Bronze. There we go. Levels him up. Giving him Great Nebula, which I am going to be real, I would put over here. Which reminds me, I'm gonna need to... Pavilion, title... So yeah, those two things I can end in and fix into something else. Can I get the new journal? Awesome, cool. So I can get the new journal. And I have until next Tuesday to get that one done. And that one has Rival Wings, Containment Bays, Bowels, Thorn. So I can get through those relatively quickly. These I'm definitely going to do with my healer another time. But I do need to redo... I need to redo this hotbar. Because, like, because this is what it looks like as my, what's-mahuzi. That's my main class, the warrior. I've kind of done it for the Dark Knight. The Paladin is very messy, and then there's, like, barely anything for the, I can keep doing... Yeah, so the Wondrous Tales gives you 2 weeks to complete it normally when you pick up the stuff. And then... And so then that way, like, you don't have to try and rush through everything, but... So if you, like, time it, you can kind of go through 2 Wondrous Tales hand-ins in, like, 1 week. Because it's like, you get last week's Wondrous Tales, and you get this week's Wondrous Tales. And because the reset goes off on Tuesday nights, I want to say? Like, yeah. I don't do too much Final Fantasy XIV as much as I did previously, but I still pace myself through the MSQ, like, once a week, so... Water? Alrighty then. Actions. So, I've got my 1, 2, 3. I've got my 4, 5, 6. Is this in the... No, that's not. Yeah, cool. So that's the combo skills. So then we got Lightning Shot, delivering a ranged... So, hang on a second. So going back down to here. So, yeah. So my tank, I do the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my ranged is the 5. So then shift 1 and 2 is the AoEs. So these I should move here. So my lightning bolt, which does the range thing, goes into the 5. Let's see. So fine, change it. No Mercy turns into Sonic Break. Double down requires cartridges. Camouflage. Alright. So yeah, I'm trying to, like, move all this stuff into the hotbar. So Aurora does heal, so I'm gonna put that up there. Blowback is a cartridge move, so it's gonna go there. Actually, hang on a second. So double down will go there. Actually, do I want to put that on 4? Allows the firing of successive rounds with your gun blade. Okay, maybe I should put that to 4 there. Delivers a potency of... So, Control Shift 1. I don't know why this included this puzzle game in my... What? Which puzzle game? What puzzle... What are you talking about, Queen Kaiju? Are you talking about this? Are you talking about how, like, this and this is, like puzzles? Because it's not. It's just me organizing my hotbar. Like, this is just me organizing my hotbar. It is going to be a very, like, just oofies. So Control Shift 1 will be the trajectory. The puzzle game you're playing, figuring out one hotbar setup that feels good. Yeah, so, because I've got this, which is easy, but then if we head over to Gunbreaker, so, like, delivers a potency attack, like, that could go there, because it requires a cartridge. That requires a cartridge, but this one requires a cartridge as well. Maybe like this? Maybe? So yeah, so my 5 there are done. Done. That one is done because of No Mercy, so I'm gonna put No Mercy up here. Move you over here, I guess? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh. Oh, that's not right. Hang on. Keybinds. Hang on. Something's not hotbar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So, yeah, this is incorrect. Hang on a second. So that should be Control 5. Yep. So Control Shift 1. Control Shift 2, Control Shift 3, Control Shift 4, Control Shift 5, and then this is Control 0. There we go, that fixes that. So, sorry, the numbering was like all off. Alright, so this is, yeah, my Hyperboil is my emergency equals. So Bow Shock, I'm gonna put Bow Shock over here. Continuation is the 4. Trajectory is the dashing forward. Bloodfest is the cartridges. Blasting zone is the thing, because it goes danger and then it goes blasting. So No Mercy turns into ready to break. Camouflage reduces. I'm gonna put you up here. Roar we've done. Done. God damn it, Reign of Beasts. When does that happen? Delivers an attack to deliver a... When? I don't know when you do that. So. Camouflage, Rogard is put there. Aurora. Super Bowl. Alright, so Heart. You know what? So I've already got the Bow Shot, I've got the continuation. So done. Oh wait, no, I didn't do this one. So wait. And then I've got Great Nebula, which is alright, so hang on a sec. So No Mercy does the thingy, the brutal shows the 4. Camouflage is the 6. So Camouflage would be up here because it does the increased parry rate by 50 while reducing damage taken by 10. It does belong here, but increases maximum HP by 20 and restores the amount increased. So maybe? What's that? Because Camouflage is there. Nebula does the... Look, it's hard, okay? Like... And what's more is I probably need to go back to the Dark Knight and make sure he's fine, too. Oh my goodness. Thing, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no, I'm missing some stuff with the... Yeah, because there's like Blackest Night. Oh wait, no, Blackest Night is there. Flood, Edge are done. Oh, Dark Missionary, you go here. Living Shadow has already been applied. Oblation. You can go there. Salt is because of Salted Earth, which is this one here. Shadowbringer, you can go there. Because... yeah, that just has, like, no charges associated with it whatsoever. You, I think you're fine. Rage, which does... what? Delivers an attack with a potency of 100 from combo with Riot Blade. What? 1, 2... oh, yeah, because... sorry. Fast to Riot to Royal Authority. So, yeah, because... yeah, Rage. Oofies. Like... hi there, Sage. Welcome to the stream. I'm going through my... I know, this is so exciting stuff, isn't it? Like, going through my hotbar all over again. It is a... like... yeah, it can be a pain. Oh, so hi there, Het. Z-Buns. Alrighty. What's Enhanced Inner Release? Grants a stack of Burgeoning Fury upon landing Fell, Cleave, or Decimate while under the effects of Inner Release. At maximum stacks becomes wraithful, upgrading inner release to primal wrath. Okay, so that's at level 96, which I guess is primal wrath. Delivers an attack to all nearby enemies with a potency of 700 for the first, 70% less for all remaining enemies. Can only be yeah. So it changes inner release to primal when the requisitions are met. Can only be when under the mission. Cannot be assigned. Primal Ren changes to primal when requirements are met. Can only be when under the primal Ren rating granted by inner release. Deliver can only be while on the effect of primal ruination ready. Huh. I don't know how Primal Ren changes when requirements are met. Primal Ruination ready. Trait. Grants the effect after executing Primal Rend. Oh, okay, so you do Primal Rend, and then right at the get-go, it then changes into Ruination, so you have like a thingy-majiggy to do. Okay, so yeah, that's not stuff I need to worry about until like a lot later on. But yeah, this bar, so easy to read. This one, almost. And then this one just... Do I have like the same number of... And then... Ooh, this one is in a weird order. Why is... Huh. So all the magic is up there. Oh, because this is up there. That's why. But I will be real with you. I'm a more clicky person. This is why you play controller now. I kind of understand. But I don't want to go to controller because I like clicking. And if I go to controller, I feel like I'm going to be giving myself a disservice of like running away from my clickies. But yeah, look at my paladin now. Like this is what he looks like. Like he's got like feathers for his like hat thing. So apparently that's available for the Vieira, is so long as it's like just a headband with feathers. So, and looks like he's got like a little pad for his arm there, interestingly. Ah! You can still click. Rabbit? Yeah, he's Rabbit Boy. He's just a Rabbit Boy. It's no biggies. But yeah, at some point I'm also gonna like change this hotbar here because I have like way more room now. So, but yeah, how it's so funny to see you embodying something so twinky. Like look, I thought this like I don't know. It's just like the Rothgars were just meh a little bit. And so I was like, oh, maybe the Vieiras are like, you know, a little, like they got more hat things, but they don't. They're a little more like portion, like, I don't know, maybe it's just because when I'm going through video games and such like that, I go for like more of the humanoid, and Rothgar is like way too furry for me. Why not go Row? It is tempting to go back to Row, I will be real with you. It was a heavy thought. Like, do you need me to, like, pull up the slideshow again of all the different ones I made? I've made all kinds of different, characters in the benchmark. I will be real with you. The Aura ones, the scaly kind of peeps, and the Elizons were, like, they looked pretty cool to me. So, yeah. Secrets in the Cinder Field. Oh yeah, I can hand this back to them. Ding dong, no. I can hand that back to them, and I can hand in with like one of my lower level, like, you know, things. It has to be at least level 90, unfortunately, but hang on. Who is... Yeah, okay, so we're gonna increase the level of our Dark Knight next. But yeah, so, because I want to try and get the level. I want to try and get the blue level 90 gear off of my character at one point. And the best way to do that is to, you know, sort of equally go across them. Because as you can see here, my Paladin is level 4, the Warrior is level 5, Gunbreaker and Dark Knight are trailing behind. I've done a little bit of work with the Rogue, not too much with the Arcanist. Oop. Dun, dun, dun. Finally bought the cleaning game, Power Washing Dad style. Ooh, nice. Okay, is my Chocobo? Yeah, he's fighting him. Cool. It's at this point that we now... Where's my sprint? There's my sprint. Ah! Stop getting into combat and let me hand in quests in peace! Cerveza Cristal. You're a popoto? Oh, you're one of those potatoes. Alright. You've returned. Did you find what you were looking? He was too quick for me. Thank you for everyone's so stupid. They never say where they go. You could be the one smuggling them, but it's too soon to go around me. Go looking and until yep, cool, that's promised for safe travels. That looks like cool gear. And they've not yet made an adventure plate. How dare. Eh. But yeah, this guy is like so far behind in terms of like getting his levels done. Return to Tululio. Thankfully, this cost no money to do. How's your night going, Code? How was dinner, if you mind me asking? Paladin is level 94, so let's do the quest for you. Oh, Grant! The Wing of Protection has been keeping a beady eye on you. Say, you've been making yourself useful. That your adventurer have been taking you nigh on every corner of Toral, including Yaktel, I hear, the land of my people. I know how dangerous these woods can be, not only from the tales of my ancestors, but from the bills on the board, too. Think you're ready to take on a bigger challenge? Absolutely. That's the spirit. Right then, let me tell you what these intermediary marks are all about. Beginner marks can be taken down by a hunter or mercenary. These ones call for a mite more preparation. I'm not just talking physically, but mentally too. If you're going to risk your life going after these beasts, it's important to know what you're risking it for. Which is why I tell everyone who thinks they're ready to move on from beginner builds to talk to Taya Quat first. She's a master huntress and mentor to would-be vipers. You'll find her down in the Gordnit Crick Gleam Sands. Look for the Zabral with the cobalt fur and ask for her to tell you our history. But yeah, look at this place. The jazz and the beaches. It's like a mix of Australia and Fiji. Granted, this probably has like some closer to real life connotations than just a mixture of, you know, Australia and Fiji, but you know. That's a oh yeah, the azure fur. Yeah, so red skin or red fur, azure hair. You have business with me, Outlander? Bol Agua sent you. Yeah, more meat for the marks. Though you look to have a little more about you than the most. Well, if you're dead set on devoting yourself to the Dawn Hunt, I should let you know a little bit about it. Where to begin? You might say, at the beginning. but it's hard to put a pin in exactly when that was. Even before Koina brought the system of marks and bills over from Eorzea, our people were hunters, not just for food, but for safety, hunting down those ill-made monstrosities whose very existence were inimical to our own. It was for that very purpose that the Vipers came to be. The finest hunters in the Toral banded together to hone their skills and their blades, and devoted their lives to stalking and slaying the fiends. At first, we were no more than a fellowship of like-minded folk who take it upon themselves to deal with any danger that caught wind of. Meh. And all that is done. We can now move back to the marks. So then that way we're able to pick up our, like, next level of, like, you know, being able to take on difficult monsters and get rewarded a sack of nuts for it as well. I wonder... Oh, okay, so... Dawn Hunt Voyager is probably over there. Back already? Yes, we are. We had our conversation. And thank you. We get a ton of experience. Intermediate Dawn marks are now available. You're now able to, from the hunt board, new quests and advanced hunt will be available upon reaching level 99 in fulfilling. Yep, cool. So those are all posted dailies. Blue Coat Cat. A wild ride barding. And then we've got, like, all that stuff. Gosh darn it. We're gonna need a lot of nuts. And both of these are posted daily. Oh boy. I like this game, but I am not fit for dailies. I love how nuts had to be seen as like a sexual term. It's against TOS to talk about your sack of nuts on twitch.tv.com. Alrighty. I think we are going to go and end the stream here. So, because it's past 9 o'clock. I have work the next day. And now, granted, I work from home on Tuesdays, but I still want to have a good night's sleep before I have to go to work, because that's where the real bread maker is for me. It's through work and what have you. Hi, it's me, Attack Dog. Unfortunately, I'm very lazy and full of cookies. Noted. I'm glad you do not have a hungering for zeeb meat. I'm glad that's not a problem. Glamour chest. I can now put you in here for now. Cause yeah, I don't have any healers up to level 70 yet. It is going to be a long ride towards them. Legs and feet. So level 70. I'm gonna restore that. Restore that. Because I have a healer that is close to level 60, so... Ding, and then... Augmented Shine, restore that. So yeah, so... Alright, cool. Sleep is extremely important. You should always make yourself feel good for work. Exactly. Plus, it's actually really good for weight loss. Like, if you have, like, a full night's sleep, it means you don't have as, like, much stress hormones in you and what have you. And so your body is able to do, like, all the different processing that they need to do. So we're gonna exit the game here. Ah! Stretching! Oh! And yeah, that is that. That is the end of tonight's stream. We did not do anything important. We had a little chat at the first hour. We did a little bit of Final Fantasy XIV for another 2. I reckon it was a fairly fulfilling, like, you know, casual sort of stream for me Monday. So if you're not a fan of that, we will be going into Yakuza 4 on Wednesdays, and then Saturday morning is when we go through the actual MSQ. So if you're wondering how I'm doing in Dawn Trail, you're welcome to join in on the Saturday morning stream and see how I am there. But yeah, that is going to be it for tonight. Yeah, it's going to be it for tonight. I'm probably going to go to bed straight after this. If any of you are still interested in watching streams and what have you, we can go on a little raid. Now, let's see. Who is online for a raid? Let's see. Of course, because I put myself down as Final Fantasy XIV, it puts down a lot of people who are also playing Final Fantasy XIV as, hey, you should raid into them. But it's like, no, I don't want to raid into the Final Fantasy XIV peeps because I'm still in the middle of Dawn Trail and I don't want to be spoiled. And I'm pretty sure none of you want to be spoiled as well. Sorry I wasn't here. I'm currently adjusting to a new time zone for a little. Not to worry, Sage. I hope you have a wonderful time at the Grand Canyon. Don't fill it in. The beauty of the Grand Canyon is the fact that there is, like, a canyon there. So don't try to fill it in. Let us see. Let's go for... It's been a while since we... Let's go for Persevore. Let's go for some art. What is Persevore's doing? Looks like they're doing a little bit of gremlin art. Yeah, let's go raid into Persevore's. And if you want to, we're going to go with our classic raid message, Himbo Raid. Show us your cutest guys, gals, and non-binary pals, or prepare to get swole. Hopefully we'll have a few of you able to join in with us on that one. But if you don't have the emotes, that's okay. You're welcome to use whichever other kind of emotes you want. And otherwise, I want to say thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. Crazy Bird Guy, thank you for the follow. Shinkazu, Krem, thank you as well for the follows. I hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are. Otherwise, I'll be online streaming again Wednesday, and otherwise, I'll see you again all next time. Bye for now.